Now let me say something now. Your mother and your father ain't always right. I told you the story of Samson. They didn't want him to go after a Philistine woman, but the Lord did. Now, when the Lord is with you, your decisions that you make can override what your parents want for your life. Because the Lord may want something different, but in this case, it worked out perfectly because this is what the Lord wanted. It was his will. And Esau was even obedient to his father. So he went, and Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac, his father, he went the opposite way. And when Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto wives which he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. And Jacob went out from Beersheba and went toward Haran. And he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took up the stones of that place and put them for his pillows and lay down that place to sleep. And what happened next? And he dreamed. And he dreamed. Lord, the Lord always, a lot of y'all too high to dream. I told y'all before, when I smoke weed, I don't dream. That's why I hate to do it. I ain't saying I didn't enjoy it. But when the Lord said be sober minded. One thing about weed, it clouds the mind. It may be from the earth, but everything from the earth is good if you use it right, according to the Lord. But the same, if you abuse anything, it ain't going to be good for you. And a lot of y'all are not hearing the Lord's voice because you don't even dream. I don't really dream. You dream, you just don't remember because you're too high. And behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angel of God ascending and ascending on it. Behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, thy father. Who stood above it? Let me change the words a little bit so you'll be more clear who I'm talking about. And behold, Jesus stood above it and said, I am Jesus, God of Abraham, thy father, and the God of Isaac, the land whereunto thou liest. To thee will I give it, and to thy seed. You just added to the word. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Who is Lord? They were seeing Jesus before the world knew who Jesus was. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south, and in thee and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Look at Jesus telling him in a dream. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places where thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken of to thee of. If the Lord said it, it will be. Let thy will be done. And Jacob waked out of his sleep, and he said, surely Jesus is in his place. And surely the Lord is in this place. And I knew it not. And he was afraid and said, how dreadful is this place? This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put it for his pillows and set it up for a pillow and poured out oil upon the top of it. Let me stop. A lot of y'all might want to start sleeping at night. Give you some sleep so you can hear from the Lord and see. And he called up the place Bethel, but the name of that city was called Luz at first. And Jacob vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, should I come again to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God. And this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. This is the stone which the people have rejected, the chief cornerstone. Why don't you love the word of God? I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? Genesis 29. Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field. And lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they were watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered. And they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in its place. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, and night is the time that cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot, until all the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. And while yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she kept them. There were no lazy women back in the day, I know that. And it came to pass when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was his father, her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob's sister, son, that he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. Now, I know y'all finna say some things. You aren't supposed to do that. Actually, the commandments of the Lord were not yet written. But if you read it, you'll see that it still lines up. But that's on a whole nother day. I ain't got time. This is what I'm focused on today. But you got to understand something. They were operating in the Lord's will. And whatever he told them, whatever their fathers told them, were the Lord's will. So they do what the Lord tell them to do. This before Moses. And Laban said to Jacob, Because thou art my brothers, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. I don't know what tender-eyed means. And Jacob loved Rachel and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel, thy younger daughter. Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days, for the love he had to her, and it didn't matter. And Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. So I can have sex with her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her to him, and he went in unto her. Now I don't know if he didn't know that they must look similar, or shape similar, or something. But it happened. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah, his maid, for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Yeah, right. I believe it now. I'm just saying. He knew, right? He knew. Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore them hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Oh, it's a reason. All makes sense, huh? Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet the 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him Rachel his daughter to wife also. Lord, boy. Back in the day, it was the 2. No, y'all women hate that junk. It is what it is. And Laban gave to Rachel, his daughter, Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid. He went, God said he gonna bless him. So far, he got blessed with 2 wives. He went in also into Rachel and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. Let's put it this way. He did not commit adultery. He did not commit fornication. He was married to both of them. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Look at that. Look at the Lord. The Lord see way different from we see. He's like, okay then. I give you 2 wives. You better love both of them. Watch how I shut up the womb of the one you love. The Lord do things, people. Y'all better pay attention. He sees way different from us. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, surely the Lord have looked upon my affliction. Look how much they've reverenced the Lord. Now therefore, my husband will love me. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, because the Lord have heard that I was hated, he have therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, now this time will my husband be joined to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son. And she said, now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left the barren. Have you ever heard these names? They sound familiar. They sound so familiar. Genesis 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister, and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, boy, I'm telling man back in the day, ain't played, boy. Am I in God's stead? Who have withheld from thee the fruit of the womb? And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go unto her. She shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. Dog, he followed his dad's footsteps. His daddy did the same thing. Or his granddaddy. Going to my maid servant. What's up with women back in the day? She should have entreated the Lord. Anyway, it all serves a purpose. He said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go into her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah her handmaid to wife. And Jacob went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, God have judged me, and have also heard my voice, and given me a son. Therefore called his name Dan. Sound familiar? And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again. Man, golly, but fruitful. But I noticed something back then. These men didn't use protection at all. And I don't remember hearing about no sexually transmitted diseases. That's a whole nother story in itself. And Bilhah's Rachel's maid conceived again and bare Jacob his second son. And Rachel said, with great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. And Leah saw that she had left bearing. She took Zilpah her maid and gave her to Jacob to wife. God, but it's the Lord's will. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob his son. And Leah said, a troop cometh, and she called his name Gad. All these names are familiar. And Zilpah, Leah's maid, bare Jacob a second son. And Leah said, happy am I, for the daughters will call me blessed. And she called his name Asher. And Reuben went into the days of wheat harvest, and found mandrakes in the field, and brought them unto his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, give me, I pray thee, of thy son's mandrakes. He said to her, is it a small matter that thou hast taken my husband? And wouldest thou take away my son's mandrakes also? It was always a little strife going on back then. But that's what happened when you got a lot of women. And Rachel said, therefore he shall lie with thee tonight for thy son's mandrakes. And Jacob came out of the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, thou must come unto me, enter to me. For surely I have hired thee with my son's mandrakes. And he lay with her that night. And God hearkened unto Leah, and she conceived. Lord have mercy. But it makes sense. He's trying to multiply the seed. You know, y'all women bad. And bare Jacob the fifth son. And Leah said, God hath given me my hire, because I have given my maiden my husband. And she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and bare Jacob the sixth son. And Leah said, God hath endued me with a good dowry. Look how much they gave reverence to the Lord. My husband dwelled with me, because I have borne him 6 sons. And she called his name Zebulun. Sound familiar? And afterwards she bare a daughter, and called her name Dinah. And God remembered Rachel, and God hearkened to her, and opened her womb. Look at the Lord just working his power, making all things work for the good. And she conceived and bare a son, and said, God hath taken away my reproach. And she called his name Joseph. And said, the Lord shall add to me another son. And it came to pass, when Rachel has borne Joseph, that Jacob said unto Laban, send me away, that I may go into my own place and to my country. That was part of the plan. Give me my wives and my children, for whom I have served thee, and let me go. For thou knowest my service which I have done to thee. And Laban said to him, I pray thee, if I have found favor in thy eyes, tarry, for I have learned by experience that the Lord hath blessed me for thy sake. Sometimes you be a blessing of folks. Give him 2 wives. He done blessed him, enriched him. See, when I would bless them that bless you, I would curse them that curse thee. Take that and use that today. And he said, appoint me thy wages, and I will give it. And he said to him, thou knowest how I served thee, and how thy cattle was with me. For it was little which thou hadst, became before I came, and it is now increased into the multitude. The Lord hath blessed thee since my coming. And now, when shall I provide for my own house also? And he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou would do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. And I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come. When it shall come for my hire before thy face, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats, and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. And Laban said, behold, I would it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he-goats, and were ring-straked and spotted. And all the she-goats that were speckled and spotted, and every one that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journey betwixt himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flock. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar, and the hazel and chestnut tree, and piled white strakes on them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had piled before the flocks and the gutters in the water, through when flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle ring-straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the face of the flocks toward the ring-straked, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not unto Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle and the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feeble were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Jacob was pretty smart now. That's why he was chosen for just that. And a man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maidservants, and manservants, and camels, and asses. You know, every time you try to play a little trickery on the Lord's children, you get tricked. Let me pause and I will continue.